Hello viewers, today we are going to discuss on regulation of enzyme activity. But before moving on, I would like to mention that this video is a part of the initiative taken up by the Geological Society of Assam to support the undergraduate students of geology. The learning outcomes of this module are concept of enzyme regulation, types of enzyme regulation, allosteric regulation, feedback inhibition, proteolytic cleavage, covalent modification, and finally protein-protein interaction. An organism must be able to control the catalytic activities of its component enzymes so that it can coordinate its numerous metabolic processes, respond to changes in the environment, and grow and differentiate all in an orderly manner. That is, the maintenance of homeostasis. This regulation is achieved by the modulation of key reactions that control metabolic fluxes. The modulation of this key reaction is achieved by controlling the activity of certain enzymes called regulatory enzymes, which is required to regulate the whole reaction speed to obtain the product to meet the changing needs of the cells. Now, what are regulatory enzymes? In a multi-step enzymatic process, which occur in all metabolic processes like glycolysis, fatty acid biosynthesis, etc., there is always the one enzyme which is responsible for the overall rate of that process. This rate-limiting enzyme is called regulatory enzyme. In most multi-enzyme systems, the first enzyme of the sequence is the regulatory enzyme. As it is shown in the figure, that there are various reaction steps in this multi-enzyme system which is catalyzed by the different sets of enzymes. Here, the E1 is the first enzyme which is acting as a regulatory enzyme. So if we want to regulate the overall reaction in this multi-enzyme system, we have to control the regulatory enzyme, that is the E1. There are two general ways of regulation of enzyme activity. One is by controlling the enzyme's quantity. Another one is altering the catalytic efficiency of the enzyme. The enzyme quantity can be controlled by altering the rate of enzyme synthesis and degradation, or by induction, or by the process of diffraction. The catalytic efficiency of the enzyme can be controlled by allosteric regulation, by proteolytic cleavage, by covalent modification, or by protein-protein interaction. The controlling of enzyme quantity can be achieved by altering the rate of enzyme synthesis and degradation. Because enzyme quantity depends on the rate of enzyme synthesis and the rate of its degradation. An increased enzyme quantity may be due to an increase in the rate of synthesis, a decrease in the rate of degradation, or both. And the decreased enzyme quantity may be due to a decrease in the rate of synthesis, an increase in the rate of degradation, or both. For example, the quantity of liver arginase enzyme increases after protein-rich meal due to an increase in the rate of synthesis, and also in starved animals due to a decrease in the rate of its degradation. Another way we can control the quantity of enzyme is by the process of induction. This is done at the level of genes. Enzyme induction is a process by which an enzyme is manufactured in response to the presence of a specific molecule called inducer. This is the figure of lactose operon in E. coli bacteria. It is an inducible operon. Here the inducer is the lactose. So in this system, when no lactose is present, the regulatory gene codes for an active repressor protein which bind to the promoter region and blocks the RNA polymerase from binding to the promoter and transcribing the three structural genes, that is LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A. But if the lactose is present, lactose will bind to the active repressor protein. The binding of the inducer, that is lactose, it alters the shape of the repressor protein and making it inactive. The inactive repressor protein will no longer be able to bind to the operator region of the LAC operon, and thus the synthesis of three structural genes, that is LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A, will take place. Another method by which enzyme quantity can be controlled is by the process of repression. Enzyme repression is the process when the repressor molecules prevent the manufacture of an enzyme. Repression typically operates by feedback regulation. So this is the figure of tryptophan operon. Here, tryptophan is the co-repressor. In this operon, regulatory genes synthesize inactive repressor protein. So in absence of co-repressor, that is tryptophan, it cannot bind to the operator region, and thus the RNA polymerase can synthesize 5 structural genes, that is TRPE, TRPD, TRPC, TRPB and TRPA, which is required for the biosynthesis of tryptophan. Once the sufficient tryptophan has been synthesized, the cell needs to terminate its synthesis. Here, the tryptophan will bind to the allosterically repressor protein and change its conformation, making it active to bind to the operator region. Once it binds to the operator region, the RNA polymerase is unable to bind to the promoter region. As a result, the transcription of the 5 structural genes are stopped. Controlling of the catalytic efficiency of the enzyme is achieved by allosteric regulation. Allosteric regulation is a type of enzyme regulation where the reversible non-covalent binding of regulatory molecules modulates the activity of enzyme. Allosteric enzyme has 2 binding sites, one is catalytic and another one is the regulatory. Usually the substrate binds to the catalytic site, whereas the regulator binds to the regulatory site. Regulatory molecules are called allosteric modulators or allosteric effectors. Allosteric modulators may be inhibitory or stimulatory. So if the binding of the effector to the enzyme increases its activity, then it is called the positive modulator or stimulatory modulator. And if the binding of the effector or modulator to the enzyme decreases its activity, then it is called negative or inhibitory modulator. As it is shown in this figure, in case of negative allosteric modulation, when the negative modulator binds the regulatory site of the enzyme, it changes the conformation of the enzyme. As a result, catalytic site becomes inactive and thus cannot bind the substrate. Whereas, In case of positive modulation, if the positive modulator binds the regulatory site, it causes the conformation change and makes the catalytic site more active for binding to the substrate. For example, in case of allosteric regulation of ATCase, which is the aspartate transcarbamylase enzyme, it is an important enzyme of pyrimidine biosynthesis. This is an allosteric enzyme. It has 2 trimers of catalytic subunit and 3 dimers of regulatory subunit. The activity of ATCase is controlled by the modulator UTP, ATP and CTP. Here ATP and CTP act as positive modulator. That means binding of this molecule increases the catalytic activity of ATCase enzyme, while UTP act as negative modulator. That means its binding decreases the catalytic activity of ATCase enzyme. Another way we can control the catalytic efficiency of the enzyme is by feedback inhibition. In this type, the end product of the reaction pathway, whenever exceeds the normal requirement of the cell, inhibits the regulatory enzyme. Feedback inhibition may occur by simple feedback loop or by multiple feedback inhibition loops as occurs in branched biosynthetic pathways. For example, in case of inhibition of threonine dehydratase, which takes place by feedback inhibition, here, in case of isoleucine biosynthetic pathway, 5 sets of enzymes are involved to convert threonine to isoleucine. Threonine dehydratase is the first enzyme in this pathway. When the concentration of isoleucine exceeds, it binds to the regulatory site of threonine dehydratase enzyme, causing its conformational change, and due to this, the active site of the threonine dehydratase enzyme become inactive and the whole reaction pathway comes to halt. Another way of controlling the catalytic efficiency is by covalent modification. Covalent modifications are enzyme catalyzed alteration of synthesized proteins and include the addition or removal of chemical groups. Modification will change the chemical properties of the enzyme site. The modification of the protein can be reversible or irreversible. In most instances, there are different enzymes responsible for the forward and reverse reactions. The common reversible covalent modification of enzymes are phosphorylation, that means the addition of the phosphate group, adenylation, addition of the adenylate group, hydroxylation, addition of the hydroxyl group, and methylation, that is the addition of methyl groups. For example, in case of glycogen phosphorylase enzyme, which is responsible for breakdown of glycogen into glucose, it exists in 2 forms, glycogen phosphorylase B and glycolase phosphorylase A. The glycogen phosphorylase B is the inactive form, whereas glycogen phosphorylase A is the active form. The enzyme phosphorylase kinase, it converts the inactivate glycogen phosphorylase into active form by covalently adding the phosphate group. The active form of glycogen phosphorylase A can be reversed back to inactive form by another enzyme, phosphatase, which removes the phosphate group, making it inactive. Another way of controlling the enzyme activity is proteolytic cleavage. Here, some enzymes are secreted as proenzyme form or zymosin form, which are inactive forms of the enzyme. Inactivity is due to the presence of extra polypeptide chain. To activate the activity of zymogen, these proenzymes are usually cleaved proteolytically by proteases. The activation of zymogen can take place by any of the following methods. Some of the zymogens are activated by HCl. For example, pepsin, which is a digestive enzyme, is secreted as inactive form pepsinogen, is converted to active form by HCl. And some of the zymogens are activated by other enzymes. For example, trypsin, it is secreted as inactive form trypsinogen, is converted to active form by the enzyme enterokinase. Another example is thrombin, which is the blood clotting factor. It is secreted as inactive form prothrombin and is converted to active form by the enzyme thrombokinase. Another method of activation of zymogen is by autoactivation. For example, pepsinogen is converted to active form pepsin by pepsin itself. Another method of enzyme regulation is protein-protein interaction or non-covalent interaction. Here, the enzyme, which is made up of more than one polypeptide chain, the interaction between the different polypeptide chains can affect the activity of the enzyme as a whole. For example, in case of cyclic AMP dependent protein kinase, here the enzyme is composed of two regulatory subunits and two catalytic subunits. So when cyclic AMP bind to the regulatory subunit, they undergo a conformational change that causes the regulatory subunit to dissociate and freeing the catalytic subunit to become active. These are the references and some suggested readings that I have used while making this PPT. For any queries and feedback, please write to me at archanabora09@gmail.com. Thank you.